But our next guest, she is an education consultant at Smart. Nadia is an education and edtech enthusiast with 11 plus years of versatile experience in various curriculum, education and technology-aided solutions in core competencies spanning across consulting, program and project management. Basically, she's an expert in her field. Nadia Baraghithi, thank you very much for joining us here on Talk 100.3.
Hello. Thank you for having me today.
Super amazing. And Nadia, so first up, what is the social and emotional learning? And how different is it for kids who get to learn these skills at a specialized place?
Right. So social and emotional learning is a huge topic, and I'm just going to go through it really quickly today. So basically, it is a set of learning experiences that helps every student develop skills and their attitude that strengthens their sense of identity, create nurturing and empathetic relationships, and helps them work towards their goals. So basically, social and emotional learning is not something that we teach on the side. So it is embedded in every class when you're teaching science, when you're teaching math. So it is how we strengthen the students' self-awareness, self-efficacy in the classroom to help nurture the relationship and emotions in every classroom.
I do think this is so important, Nadia, for individuals.
Yeah.
I mean, we speak to so many universities and recruiters on this show, and they all say that for the next generation, with the workforce changing and evolving, these non-technical skills or soft skills or whatever you want to say are the key in order to be able to be resilient when it comes to changes in economy or changes in technology. But if I can take the other view, as important as these are, is it up to schools to teach these, or should these be taught in the home?
So it's not something that should be taught in a specific place. It is something that should be, of course, taught in school. So the teacher spends 7-8 hours with students, right? And this should be embedded in every classroom, as I mentioned, and also at home. So there is a set of awareness that should be given to parents as well to help nurture their kids and help them with their social and talk about their emotions when they're expressing, have a safe space where they're, talking about their daily activities in the classroom, also in the play areas, right? So it's not something that is specific to a time or a setting. It should be across the whole day.
Right. So, these days, from whatever little we've seen, when we go to universities to meet the kids studying there, the education, is completely shifted to what could be said as a digital programming. Right? Most of the kids don't really read off the books. They read off their laptops. And when you go down to younger ages, even kids in the strollers, babies literally, there are mothers who put tabs in front of them so that they can absorb from the screen, probably be occupied with whatever cartoons they are watching and be engaged. Does this also change their emotional, their social skills? Or should we just keep the tab out and say, listen, let's sit and talk man to man?
Yes. So everything we do
person to person, you should say.
Person to person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, everything is done pedagogically. You need to do it with structure. You cannot just give a kid a tab at school or at home unsupervised for 5-6 hours during the day, because that is not healthy. But what we do, let's say in classrooms, is we rely on game-based learning, right? Where I put a few students together, brainstorm, they learn from each other, they listen to each other, they experiment different things together. So this is what we're doing. Now, if we have a tab over there, like within a group, and they're discussing an activity, this is very productive and very structured. Unlike when you have a kid that, as I mentioned, having a tab for 3-4 hours, I don't know what is the content, what are they watching, is it productive? That would affect negatively on social and emotional, right? So we do it in structure, looking at quality of content. There is an outcome. It is done with a pedagogical approach, and this will increase the learning outcomes, definitely, within a group or within an individual or within a collaborative classroom.
Is there any research to show that it has actually affected student outcomes?
Yes, so we do have at SMART our research department that releases a lot of content on social and emotional learning. How does it affect the learning? How it also affects the students' outcomes in the classroom.
And what has
So
been the feedback from teachers? Because every teacher I speak to, they find it hard enough just to go through writing and arithmetic without a new agenda. What has the feedback been from the schools?
So definitely whenever you're embedding anything new to the curricula, especially teachers are burnt out, they have a lot on their plate, so we totally understand. But as I mentioned at the beginning, it is not something that you add, it's not something that it is, separate that we teach on the side. It is something that is embedded. So these are the teaching strategies that we as a consultant, we help teachers embed during the learning process. So let's say, for instance, I want to teach today about the plants, right? So I can put my students, 20 students, 25 students in like 5 groups, give them a topic to discuss, talk about, brainstorm. So these kind of brainstorming activities or getting them to speak freely or having a safe space. So this is embedding the social and emotional learning into the curricula. And this is very crucial. So we help the teachers embed such strategies.
Are there any tips that you can share with us about how we should teach co-workers a certain emotional learning? I'm not going to mention any names that I may or may not work with, Nadia, but how would you advise me if I have some members of staff who might need some more emotional learning tips?
Yes. So, for instance, if you're running a meeting and you want to get some feedback from your employees or trainees or students, right? So I would get them connect on devices to share their opinion anonymously. So I don't have to know who sent what.
Right.
Sometimes we have employees who are maybe shy to express their emotions, express their opinion, or maybe share something that is maybe they're not very confident about. Now, when I know that it's a safe space, I can share. Nobody doesn't know who shared what. I create this kind of safe space for my employees to just express their feelings.
Yeah, and I think that's very, very important. But I think you've also, like you said, I think a lot of managers, perhaps in the workplace, don't want to implement that because they don't want to probably hear the bad news, and then also have a responsibility to act on it. So, these are very, very important measures, and I do congratulate you because with anything new, it is hard to put this agenda in place. But it is so important. When it comes to this, are we looking at a position where it's mandated by authorities and parents to have this in our curriculum?
So it is not mandatory. I mean, you do not have this as a mandatory skill that you need to implement, but it's very important and it is very effective in classrooms. And we're trying as consultants to bring in the positive impact that we see in students and also teaching processes. So it is not mandatory, but it's something that we're working on to implement in every classroom that we're at.
Right. The success of anything is always when you can measure it, right? So is there a way to measure the outcome once a session is done or a few sessions are done or probably a term is completed? Is there an examination or do we do it without actually checking the numbers that the kids have got on this?
So currently at SMART we don't have something that measures this. But what we can see is that the collaboration in the classroom increases. The outcomes have increased. Engagement has also increased. When I have, let's say, if I'm asking a random question to my students, I have sometimes 5 students answering. But when I give them a game-based activity, I realize that I have 25 students answering. So this is a reflection. But I'm sure that AI will have some kind of invention that we will definitely be able to measure it very soon.
What ages do you recommend that something like this social and emotional learning should be introduced? Or are there certain peak ages, or is it a case of if you try and introduce it for 14 and 15-year-olds, it's too late? We've already lost them. I mean, what is the recommended age?
I don't think there is any age that it is too late to start using this. I mean, we're 30s and we're using it every day in our lives right now. As you mentioned, in meetings now it's being so well-being. This is part of well-being, right? So we have it implemented in meeting rooms, in businesses, in schools. I use this with my little one also. He's 6 years old. I would even start at an earlier age, from the age that students or kids start talking, because it's an expression. They express their feelings, their emotions. So you give them this kind of, it's okay to express what I'm feeling. So there is no age limitation to this.
Okay, well, this is very, very exciting. Nadia, congratulations on all of your work with SMART, and we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much.
There is Nadia.
Have a good.
Thank you very much. There is Nadia Baraghithi, the education consultant at SMART. And what do you think about that? What do you think about social and emotional learning in schools? Let us know your thoughts. 0586861003. Do you think this is something that should be mandated by the authorities and by parents in schools? Do you think that it's something that should perhaps be up to more the parents to be able to implement at home? Let us know your thoughts at 0586861003. But it certainly is a trending topic at the moment. TS